Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Lucas TA. This is Mustard Cat Sports. This is a very, very serious and awesome topic. I'm super excited about this, and I would appreciate if people could give me some hardcore criticism on this, or tweaks, or anything that they would like on this, because this is a dead serious point standings, a system, a system that could be used in any racing, to be honest. But I catered it 100% to the Cup Series. And this will work with the car they're working with now and future generation cars. This is almost a perfect system. There's no such thing as a perfect system. I personally would love an all season, full season point standings. I don't know if we can get back to that because of the stupid TV and a bunch of people fighting back. You're always gonna have people that don't want stuff. But here we go. I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff up on the screen while I'm talking. I'm basically gonna be looking at all the stuff that I have created. I believe it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to understand. It'd be very easy to explain to people on TV because it's just numbers. All it is numbers. And I cannot take credit for a majority of this. This is from Dale Jr. himself. Um, he put the skeleton out there with this system, and when I heard it on his podcast, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, "Wow, why haven't we thought about this? Why aren't we looking into this? Maybe they are, maybe they're not." But as fans, we're ignored all the time. We're ignored 100% of the time. So I want you guys to criticize this or add things that you think should be added to this to enhance it because and then I'd love to bring this, like, let's blow this shit up and let's send it to Dale Jr. Let's send it to all the drivers. Let's send it to NASCAR. It'd be awesome. And I don't even need fucking credit for it. Like, it's a beautiful system. They can have it for free. Take it. Run with it. But I don't even have I don't have a name for it. So if people have a name for it or have a name for certain areas that I'm going to explain, I'd love it. Name them. Dale Jr. set the skeleton. I just added the tendons, the muscles, the skin to make it a human. And now we just need the final pieces to map it completely off. The clothes, a name, and it's done. So let's just get into it. Um, I'll explain everything as best as possible, and hopefully it's not confusing. If it is, please put that in the comments and say it's confusing and why. Because I want to make it as clear and easy as possible for new fans. Because new fans, this one we're running right now is terrible. Explaining it to new fans, they're like, what? Wait? Huh? So please criticize, give me everything. Okay? All of it. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be upset. I'm not gonna sit in the comments and defend myself. No. I might go in the comments and be like, I did this because of this, but I'm never gonna come in and be like, you're a stupid idiot. Get out of here. No. Destroy this thing. Rip it apart. Nitpick it. All right, let's get into it. And to start off with, there's no more playoffs. Playoffs are stupid. They don't deserve to be in any sort of racing at all. And here we go. Here we go. So we're eliminating them. Also, this is the other part. And I understand if NASCAR wants to stay with 36 races, that's their prerogative. My thought process is this, and this is a positive on all notes. We're going to 30 races, 30 points paying races. So the All-Star race would be 31 races then, technically. And I'll make another video hammering out how the schedule will be mapped out, what races should go where, and blah, blah, blah. But 30 races, and here's why. 30 races allows the teams and the drivers to have time off. And you'd be like, oh, they're doing the dream job. No, no. Listen to me. 30 race schedule helps them, the teams, to have a little break and then allows drivers to go off to grassroots racing or any other type of racing that they want to do and go race that so we can watch them because it's great and it's great for every sport and every line of racing when different drivers can intermingle with different tracks or excuse me different series. We want that. You want that. You want to go watch your best driver or your favorite driver, or maybe you want to watch your not favorite driver lose in a series. But that's good. We want that. That's great. And then here's the other part. The other part, if we go to a 30 race thing schedule, there are so many great tracks that NASCAR uses right now. And I would implement in the schedule the only races that have two dates would be Daytona and Talladega, and that's it. Maybe Darlington could have two if they really wanted to, but every other track it'd be a one time a year because we're only going to do 30 races. And those 30 races that allows teams or that allows NASCAR to be proactive and to switch the schedule up. So maybe one year we have Iowa in, then next year we don't. Then we have it back in the year after, then we don't. It's an every other year thing. That way it's supply and demand. It keeps people excited, and when people come to it, the stands are packed, everything's packed. And with 30 races, we can swap this up, and it will make more sense when I finish up the point standings. But that's what we need to go. I would also say 32 races. But I say the sweet spot is either 32 points paying races or 30 races. 36 is way too long, way too long. And anyone that doesn't like that, like, I guess you don't understand anything that I'm saying because it makes very perfect sense. Supply and demand. It gives us variety. It changes up the schedule. So then certain drivers can't have like a dominant, spot to win. Hence, maybe Larson dominating in certain areas, or right now how the Penske guys are dominating in certain areas at the end of the schedule. Like you can't have that. Can't. You gotta have variety. Gotta keep it in motion. Gotta keep it moving. For this all to work out, it's gonna have to be a finely tuned wheel, and it's going to have to keep rolling. And NASCAR's going to have to stay up on top of it. They're going to have get going with the schedules that you can move stuff in and out, in and out. So that's my beef on that. So 30 races in this scenario, we're doing 30 races. Now, the other thing that we're switching up to is the stage racing. I hate stage racing. I hate it all. Don't like it. I like how they can get points. I do enjoy that aspect of it. So this is what I would implement. I would implement only one stage, one stopping. And I'm kind of wishy-washy through here. It could be right in the middle. They could cut it right in half and always stop it in the middle and pay it out. Or on certain tracks, like all the super speedways, they should just stopping the race and just pay the points out and go. I personally liked the road courses with no stages stopping, even though everyone thought it was boring. Reminded me of the early 2000s when you watched those races, so it didn't bother me at all. Um, but if they wanted to do the stage break and stop it at road courses still, whatever. At least it's one stop. It's one stop, and that's it. And the other thing that I would be in favor for, and it would kind of be interesting, is if NASCAR wouldn't tell the teams when the stage break was going to happen until they show up that weekend. So when they would walk into that weekend, that's when they would get told, hey, the stage break is going to end. Let's just say it's a 400-mile lap or 400 lap race. They'd be like, it's going to end on 125. So it's going to end almost a little past the quarter mark. And then after that, and then the rest of the race goes green unless there's a caution. So I like that aspect. I like just one stoppage or one payout time, and that's when it's going to be. And NASCAR can choose when they want it, but they can't choose it like if they want to do it the day of the race that morning and tell all the teams, that's fine too. I'm fine with that too. But one stoppage. But to move on with that, stage points would still pay it the same. First would get 10, second would get 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to the 10th place spot. So that would not change. That's very simple to understand. No playoff point, nothing like that. It's confusing as fuck. The playoffs aren't in here. It's gone. All right, moving on. Fastest lap, that's gone. We're bringing back leading laps and leading the most laps because it makes sense. It keeps people up front. It keeps people wanting to be up front. So if you lead a lap or you lead 10 laps or whatever it is, you get 5 bonus points. If you lead the most laps that race, you get 10 bonus points. If you've been in the sport long enough, you'll know exactly how that works. It's pretty straightforward. Now, let's move on to the actual points that they get paid out here. And this whole system is based off of winning, winning, winning. The more you win or the higher you finish, you're going to get rewarded. And that's what you want. You want to reward the people that finish in the high spots And that's how you build something great. Okay? You don't reward people that if they're on the way back and they win one race, they get to go on. That's not how it works. No. So this is how the point standings goes. So 36 to 40th place, you get no points. Then 35th, 1 point. You can see on the screen, 33, 3 points, so on, blah, 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 blah. All the way up to, you can see 10th place is 26 points. And then right at sixth place is 30 points. So it's all 1 point difference. So then after sixth place, the top five, fifth place gets 35 points. So that's a 5 point jump. Fourth place gets 40 points. That's another 5 point jump. Third place gets 45 points. It's another 5 point jump. Second place gets 50 points, another 5 point jump. First place gets a 10 point jump and gets 60 points. 60 points. So, in theory, in a race, you could get first place, lead the most laps, would be 10 points, and win the stage break, which would be another 10 points. And that would equate to 80 total points. So, that's going to really give winning, you want to win. You're going to get a lot of points. So, all pretty straightforward stuff. Now, Dale Jr. was talking about the Final Four. You know, everyone wanting the Final Four, and you know all that excitement on there, and a lot of teams and players and drivers and blah blah blah. Everyone's like, we need to have like a three race, round. There's no rounds, no more rounds. Rounds are stupid. I guess if you want to call this a 6 round thing, sure, we'll do that. Because this is where it gets fun, and I think this will be fun. It's not going to be fun if you're a driver. Well, it will be fun. People just need to get over the fact that the playoffs suck. The playoffs are dumb. The elimination is dumb. Um, it's dumb. Unless you're going to eliminate cars off the track, then it's fun. So when the playoffs come, you better be eliminating everyone besides the 16. So no one else is on that track besides 16 cars. If you want elimination time, that's what it's got to be. So the final four would be just 4 cars on the track. That would be stupid. Don't do that. It's dumb. It's as dumb as it is now. So moving on though. So we have 30 races. 30 races on the schedule. When it gets to the 24th race, there's 6 races left. That's when we'd lock in our 4 drivers. 4 drivers. And how we determine that is the four best drivers with the most points at that mark. So then those 4 drivers would go into the next 6 races and compete for the championship. Um, and in those 6 races, NASCAR would hopefully be switching these up. But in these 6 races, you would have, and Dale Jr. said this, you would have to have a plate race. You would have to have, so that could either be Daytona or Talladega. Um, I guess you could put Atlanta in there, but I don't know. So, but it'd have to be one of those two. It'd have to be a road course. Could be a street course, I guess, if you want to go that late, but it has to be some sort of road course, street course. A short track, and then 1.5 track. Then you have 2 other tracks left that you can, that hopefully they'll switch up more often than not. It could either be another short track or it could be another 1.5 miles. It could not be a super speedway, and it could not be a road course. So, because that's not what the majority of NASCAR is. So, but that it's a perfect blend. You have to go 6 races, arguably showing your skill on all those different ones. And NASCAR could switch that up every year. They don't have to switch all of them up, but at minimum, they'd have to switch up one of those tracks. So I'm just throwing these out here. I don't even know if they're the actual thing, but let's just say Talladega, Watkins Glen, um, Bristol, uh, Homestead, Richmond, and Charlotte. Let's just say that. Those ones. Now, if they did those same ones the next year, if they just switched up one, they had all those same tracks, but instead of Talladega, they had Daytona. That's one change. I'm fine with that. They need at least one minimum change. If they want to do more, that's totally fine too. I love the switch up. And that's what will allow them, if you have a smaller 30 race thing, they have different tracks that they can move around and change. And I get it's going to be colder in some areas. But the fact that you think that race fans aren't going to show up because it's freaking cold, you're brain dead. You're brain freaking dead. If you're that much of a baby that you can't go to a race, honestly, I've been to enough races that I would enjoy it being a little colder. I've been to Lambeau Field 4 or 5 times and in the cold. It's fun. It's exciting. There's energy. There's people in the crowd. You're drinking. You're all huddled together. I've never been cold going to there unless you get your feet wet. Then it kind of sucks. So enough with this. It's too cold for our fans. Shut up. So there we go. That's how we determine who gets into that final 6 races. It would be the top 4 in points. But hear me out here. So how we would set the the way that they would be. So let's just take last year's people, for instance. We had, well, this isn't how they all win it, but this is the final 4. Uh, Last year's ending of the standings. So Joey Logano won, then it was Ryan Blaney, then it was William Byron, and then Reddick. That's how they finished off. So I'm just using them for an example. If those 4 went into the final 6 races in this system, so how you would seed them would be all their points that they accumulated through the year is gone. So, and this is how we set them. So at the end of the regular season or whatever we want to call that, I don't know what we want to call it, and going into the final 6 races, I don't know what you want to call it that. So that's where I'm looking for names. If you want to call it the regular season, I don't really like that. Postseason, regular season, I don't know. Final 4, I don't know. But something. But this is how you would seed them. You'd seed those 4 people by these 4 criterias. And you could look at everything through that what they did that year. And this is what's going to be awesome about it. Every first place that you had in those first 24 races, you get 10 points. Every podium finish, so you'll get 5 points. Then every top 5 you got in those 24 races, you'll get 3 points. Every top 10, you'll get 1 point. So you add all those points together, and that's what you would start with. So what I did was I just used their 36 races and I added all those together. So how they would seed it would be William Byron would be in first with 90 points. Tyler Reddick would be in second with 87 points. Ryan Blaney would be in third with 84 points. And Joey Logano would be in fourth with 74 points. So that's how you'd seed them. And then you'd go on from there. So now, this is where it gets really fun, in my opinion. In those last 6 races, in those last 6 races, the point standings will all stay the same, how I showed you, and it's up here right now, will all stay the same. The only difference will um, the top 10 finishers in the last 6 races, their points will um, double by 10 points. So in this instance, it was 26 points for 10th. It'll be 36 for 10th, then 37 for 9th, 38th, or 38 for 8th, you can see on the screen. And then first place would get 70 points instead of 60 points. So you could, in those last 6 races, you could get a total of, you'd get 70 points for winning. If you led all the laps, or led the most laps, you get another 10. And then in the stage break, if you won that, it'd be another 10. So you could get 90 points a max of 90 points in there. And at the end of those 6 races, whoever has the most points of those 4 guys would win the championship. And it's that simple. And I don't know how more simple I could do that. I stumbled over a little bit of my words, but with everything up here and you being able to kind of go back and look at it, what are your guys' thoughts on it? I think it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple to look at numbers wise. It's definitely a lot easier to understand than NASCAR, what they have right now. There's no playoff points. There's nothing like that. There's none of that. The only weird thing that people might not understand is, how they pay out at the end of the regular season, how you see them, but that's pretty straightforward for the most part. The only 2 things, and I'll give this, and I could live with this exactly how I have it, or these 2 things that I do want to add, and they're kind of gimmicky, but at the same time they're not. They're gimmicky as in someone could just sneak in, but they're really going to have to hammer down. So having four drivers in the last six races is basically the only, like, you're only going to have four. The only time that you could have more than four drivers in the last six races competing for a championship are two ways. One, if someone has a 10, wins 10 races before the 20, before or after the 24th race, before they start this. So in 24 races, they win 10 races, they're automatically in the final six. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. Doesn't matter. They're automatically in the that final six. And then in that case, if they're still in the four, like the top four, we're going to disregard them and we're going to take the next top four in points. So, um, so there'd be five then in that sixth round. And then the and if that never happens, which would be very hard to do, winning 10, especially in this car. But if that didn't happen, then you wouldn't have to worry about that scenario. The other scenario is anyone in the top 12 in points before the end of race 24. So right when race 20 starts to race 24, that's four races. If someone goes in there and wins four races in a row, they win 21, 22, 23, 24, all four of them, that's a feat. If one driver goes in there and wins all four races before the final six, they're automatically in. But they have to be in the top 12 in points. So, for instance, the Joey Logano way. Joey Logano was like 17th in points. So if he went on a tear on the last four races before the final six and won all four of those races in a row, which four in a row is very difficult to do. If you did that, you were in the top 12 in points after that 24th race, you would be in with the top four people. So in a perfect world, if someone run 10 races, which this would be very difficult to do because at 10 races that someone's winning in 24 races, and then one guy wins the last four races before the six, and then we take the top four, that'd be six people competing in, which would be a very rare scenario. Probably would never happen. But those two instances, the 10 wins and then winning the last four before the six starts, I don't need that in this. I was just putting in there because it kind of like it gives a little push for the people that are just right outside that top five that might not be able to point their way in. But now it's like I got to go for wins, got to go for broke. So it gives that little gimmick. But at the same time, if they do get in there, they got to keep the hammer down. It's kind of like Tony Stewart in what was it 20 was that 2011 championship, or was that I can't remember now. But it's the one he was against Carl Edwards and came in there and snuck in and stole it. Like just had a great end to his championship. So that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the whole point standings. I don't have a name for the point standings. I don't have anything like that. Please criticize this. Look into it. Give me some ideas. Give me things you love, you hate. Just tell it as it is. I'm not going to be mad. And spam this as much as you can to Mark Martin, to Dale Jr. And I'm up for redoing and making it more simple. This was just a kind of a off the cuff. I'm just talking about it. I hope it comes off somewhat easy to understand. But yeah, that would be it. 30 races, 24, and after the 24 races, whoever is top four in points, those four would compete in six races, and those six races would have to be a restrictor plate, a road course, a short track, an intermediate, and then the other two would either have to be you could do two more short tracks if you wanted to, or you could do two more intermediates, or you could do one more short track and one more intermediate. But that's a good sample size to crown a champion. And if you're taking the top four in points in the first 24 races and you're putting them in there, you're not going to get a fluke winner. You won't. I haven't done all the numbers, but I guarantee if you do any of this stuff that I just explained, the numbers wise, in any of the series, you're always going to get the best of the best going up against each other. And top four in points, I don't hate any of the top four winning a championship. So points wise. So that's my point standings system. I truly love it. The more I think about it, and the more I've been trying to add and implement and take away stuff, I think it's perfect the way it is. Like I said, those last two gimmicks I could do without. Um, and it still would produce really good racing. You're gonna have the best racing against the best at the end. You're gonna have storylines. The media has to do their job and get their little fingers in there and inform the fans that can't see that. That's what's going to bring in like the fun, the excitement. I can see it. I can do it. I'm a tenured fan. I know what I'm looking for. But this is simple enough. You can put numbers up on the screen like I did, and people should be able to understand it. And it's gonna drive people to want to win, to want to lead laps, basically to kick ass. That's you're gonna get more. You're gonna get rewarded going into the final six. The more wins you have, the more podiums you have, and then top fives and top tens, you're still rewarded, but not as much as first, second, third. You want that. You want to go for that. You don't want just a top 10. You only get 1 point. So thanks again. Hopefully people appreciate it. I appreciate it, Junior, coming up with this idea. All I did was add to it. So please add to it, subtract stuff. Let me know what your thoughts are. My name is Lucas TA, and I'll see you guys